Hello, I'm Dr. G.K. Pancha, an occupational therapist. This is the second part of the low back ache. So now this is the second part of the lecture of the topic low back pain, low back ache. So here you have today we'll be discussing little treatment protocols and surgical management of this. So here there are certain principles when we treat the about low back pain. So due to lumbar disc disease. So the principles of treating low back pain due to lumbar disc disease can be explained by 3 R's as here it is mentioned, that is relieve pain in acute cases, restore normal movements in chronic cases, recure is to be prevented. So here the actually the treatment modalities in low back pain is to be conducted, that is first we have a conservative therapy. So in that absolute bed rest is the best treatment of the acute low back pain. Ice packs, NSAIDs, muscle relaxants, antidepressants are recommended. Box extension, skin traction and pelvic traction helps to relieve pain. Walking within limits of comfort is also encouraged. Sitting and reading in a car is discouraged also. So back braces or belts are recommended in acute stages. They are discarded on the other side as soon as symptoms decreases. Otherwise, the muscle become weak and hasn't a degeneration. And in the role of exercises, as the pain decreases, isometric abdominal and lower extremity exercises are begun. So remember, the pain as the pain decreases, isometric abdominal and lower extremity exercises are begun. So we isometrics are certainly helpful in improving the strength and maintaining the strength of the individual. Also, even at the time of fractures, also you can perform isometric exercises whenever, even if the limb is in the cast, to avoid any kind of wasting or hypertrophy of the muscles or weakening of the muscles. So the choice of exercises are again dependent or based on increase or decrease of pain by extension or flexion. So if say pain decreases by extension, then extension exercises are recommended. On the other hand, if the pain decreases by flexion, the flexion exercises are recommended. So improvements in symptoms with extension are indication of a good prognosis with the conservative care. So extension is again our indication for the good prognosis. So lower extremity exercises increase the strength and relieve the stress on the back, but they may increase the lower extremity arthritis. So thus the true benefit of such treatment may be in the promotion of good posture and body mechanics than strength. So back education and importance of proper posture is taught. So that's why it is important to understand the certain criteria and form. There are further contraindications and things to remember. That is how traction helps and what are things to be contraindicated. So for that, if you remember that the hypertension, PVD, cataracts, glaucoma, liable asthma or COPD or pregnancy, that are the contraindications for the traction in the low back pain. Whereas how this traction helps, so it relieves the muscle spasm, may distract the facet joints and may distract the disc space. So these are certain ways in which you can help the individual in forming the uh, particular role in helping the low back pain issues. And there are many treatment protocols which we follow. In the next slide I have given some pictorial presentation on how you can do certain exercises, what are the types of stretches you can go for it, and this picture formation is easy to understand and to perform the exercises on certain basis. So these are the postural habits which you can see in the picture of a lifting, standing, then just sitting and turning for the table, then walking, then sitting to ensure to do certain typing activities, sleeping on the side. Then there are over here on the right side, if you see, there are exercise for the low back ache. Exercises, as you can see, there's the different kind of stretches are mentioned here. So even lifting objects, it is important to bend at your knees and not at your waist. Hold the objects you are lifting close to your body. not higher than your chest. So this is very easy combination, because if you lift more further, you it generate more force at the back and causes certain pain in that form. So thus, when we are developing the therapeutic exercises for the people with low back disorders, it is important to choose the exercises that will that while taking into consideration, say, of taking advantage of training the group of muscles which are important for the low back ache. It's not only conditioning the muscles also in that form, but also it is about putting lowest possible loads in this the region who are affected, or where the load is there, or where the pain is there. But traditionally, this reasoning has not been often applied in the rehabilitation program. But the exercise to increase the strength of the back extensors are often performed in the prone position to take advantage of the resistance provided by the gravity to back, leg, arm extension. So if you see, so there are certain forms in doing this kind of exercises, and in particular, so the erector spine and the contralateral abdominal muscles should be activated during the single right leg extension to maintain the neutral pelvis. So this is a kind of exercise which helps, and also to improve the spinal posture and to balance internal movements and lateral shear forces. So that's how these exercises are helpful in doing certain things. Also, trunk sit-ups and curl-ups are often performed as the method of abdominal strengthening. Measured compression forces during this task with both bent knees and straight knees. So, and so the forces are to be measured in this form, and to perform the exercises in particular fashion. There are other muscles also which are involved, lateral muscles, anterior muscles of the back, which helps to maintain the strength and to avoid certain kind of a weakness at particular point of time. So if you see that the you can say the unilateral contraction of left uh, quadratus lumborum muscles will lift until the left side of the pelvis and hide the pelvis trunk inflection, and pelvis and leg are free to move. So that's why this is certain forms of movement which helps to perform the movement in particular form. So that's why it is important to understand and go through the back pain treatment regime to have a proper outcome. For the prescribing this kind of exercise, it is important to understand the occupation of the patient, because every patient is different. As you can see here, there are different individuals with different tasks of performance. Everyone has to perform differently at the different job area, different role of doing the things. So thus, if we see that in a particular form, uh, that these patients with the problems of the lumbar area are very difficult at times, and because of this low back pain, there can be certain herniation of the disc, that is a space occupying lesion kind of, which refers to radical symptoms into the leg and from the other conditions. So if there are no radical symptoms below the knee, it's often become very difficult for the examiner to determine whether the spine problem or any other or any kind of a matter, whether the problem is truly the lumbar spine or coming from the pelvic joints and many other. So further, it is important for us to know the basic criteria of the lumbar spine region and the treatment protocols behind it. So further, if you see, so thus it is important to know the patient's age. Different conditions affect patients after their ages. So, for example, that this problem occurs between the age of the 15 to 40 years, and ankylosing spondylitis is evident between the age of 18 to 45 years, and osteoarthritis and spondylosis are more evident in people older than 45 years of age, and malignancy of the spine is most common in the people of the older than 50 years. So it's not just low back pain; it is also the other conditions which are involved with it. So this is also important to rule out, because of the low back pain. There's a weak muscle, so there are high chances of the disc prolapse and many other things. So other things also should be kept in mind when you're dealing with this kind of patient. Then the patient's occupation, that is a back pain, tends to be more prevalent in the people with strenuous occupations. Although it has been reported that family influences have an effect as well as occupation. Say for example, truck drivers, because of vibration, and warehouse workers have a very high incidence of back injury. So the patients who have chronic back pain may develop deconditioning syndrome. So that is a deconditioning syndrome, which compounds many things, which compounds the problems, as it leads to decreased muscle strength, impaired motor control, decreased coordination and postural control. Then how active is the person at work, and uh, and uh, maybe at the work at the usual job, light duties, full times, frequent days off because of back pain, unemployed because of back, or retired. Then it is important to know the gender of the patient, because low back pain has a higher incidence in women. Female patients should be asked about any changes in that occur in with menstruation, such as altered pain patterns, irregular menses, and swelling of the abdominal or breast. Knowledge of the date of the post recent pelvic examination is also useful as such. So these things, there are many other things which are related to the back pain. So further knowledge of the date of the most recent pelvic examination is also useful. Ankylosing spondylitis is again more common in men. Then the mechanism of any injury which may be related to the back pain, maybe lifting commonly causes low back. That's why you can see in the image how to lift a particular thing, which can prevent back pain, which can reduce back pain, can also assist in relieving the pain if that particular pattern. So this is not surprising when one considers that the force exerted on the lumbar spine and the disc. So maybe for example, a man lifting a 91 kg weight, approximately 36 centimeter or 14 inches, maybe means the man's weight, maybe we say for example 77 kgs. He's lifting uh, 91 kgs weight, approximately 36 centimeter, that is 14 inches from the intervertebral uh, uh, disc, exerts a force of 940 kgs. So if a person is lifting 91 kgs of 77 kgs of an individual lifts a 91 kgs of 14 inches off from the floor, it exerts the intervertebral disc space a force of 940 kg. The 940 kgs of force is exerted between the intervertebral discs. So on that scenario, you can imagine how much force is exerted and how can it can be portrayed. So the force exerted on the disc can be calculated as roughly 10 times the weight being lifted. That is the rough and calculation. So if you're lifting anything maybe 1 kg, then around 10 kg of force exerted on the disc. So if we just see that so the pressure on the intervertebral disc varies depending on the position of the spine. So that pressure on the disc can be decreased by increasing the supported inclination of the backrest. For example, an angle of 130 degrees decrease the pressure on the disc by 50%. So that is how we can help and we can assist in doing certain tasks. Also, using the arm for support can also decrease the pressure on the disc. Then when one is standing, the disc pressure is approximately 35% of the pressure that occurs in the relaxed sitting position. That's why you can see here one individual is using a step on the figure number 34.28, that is standing keeping one foot in front and knees slightly bent while standing upright. So if we have to stand for a long time, try keeping one foot higher than the other does on a low stool, or change your position. So if you're giving a lecture, if you're giving a seminar, then you can always place your feet at one step. Or also when some ladies are doing some kitchen work, so they are doing in standing position, so there they can use one block or a brick on which they can stand and perform certain tasks, which helps them to deliver reduce their pain of the low back. Further, using the arm, as I told, it supports the disc. So when one is standing, it is having 35% of the pressure. So the so also we as an examiner should also keep in mind that the stress on the lower back tends to be 15 to 20% higher in men than women, because men are taller and their weight is distributed higher in the body. So that is the problem. So that because that the men also have higher weight occurring and forming when they are doing the same task compared to the female. If the female is doing lifting and the man is lifting, so the man will be experiencing more pressure and force at his intervertebral disc. Further, how long it is also important to know, to understand and to think about that how long has the problem bothered the patient, till how long he is having this issue. So one can also use Nordic musculoskeletal questionnaire, as I was doing through my thesis in my dissertation of PG, that we that I was checking the uh, musculoskeletal problems in the caregivers spinal cord injury patients, saying that we also check there was a parameter in the Nordic musculoskeletal questionnaire, that from how long is the problem consistent, from how long he is suffering from the issue, he or she, the patient is suffering, the caregiver are suffering from the issue. So it is important to keep in consideration the duration of the illness, duration of the problem. So further, acute back pain lasts 3 to 4 weeks, subacute back pain lasts up to 12 weeks, and a chronic pain is anything longer than 3 months. So that is the thing. So the acute is 3 to 4 weeks, approximately a month. Subacute is up to 12 weeks, around say f- uh, 3 months, and anything more than 3 months is a more chronic condition. So it is so the chronicity with the back pain of the patients is important to understand. Another predator of the chronicity within the first 6 to 8 months weeks can be considered yellow flags, that is nerve root pain or a specific spinal pathology, reported severity of pain at the acute stage, benefits about beliefs about pain being work related, psychological distress, psychosocial aspects of work, compensation, time off the work. So the longer someone is off with back pain, the the lower the probability that they will return to the work. That is also important to understand. Then it is also good to know that where are the sites and boundaries of pain. So have the patient point to the location, or location single or locations many. That is very important to understand. Note whether the patient indicates a specific joint or whether the pain is more of general. Then the more specific the pain, the easier it is to localize the area of pathology, because you can just localize the pain, you can understand which muscles beneath are having certain issue or posing certain form of pain occurrence or problems. So the more specific the pain, the easier it is to localize the area of pathology. So unilateral pain with no referral below the knee may be caused by the injury to the muscle, that is a strain, or ligaments, injury to the ligaments, that is the sprain, the facet joint, or in some cases the sacroiliac joints. So there is so this is called a mechanical low back kind of a pain, mechanical low back pain. So if you see, the mechanical low back pain is, the pain is usually cyclic. Lower back is often referred to the buttocks and thighs. Morning stiffness or pain is common. Start pain, that is when starting movement is common. There is pain on forward flexion and often also on returning to the erect posture. Pain is often produced or aggravated by extension, side flexion, rotation, standing, walking, sitting, and exercise in general. Also, pain is usually comes first over the course of the day. Pain is relieved by the change of position. Pain is relieved by lying down, especially in the fetal position. Also, with each of these injuries, there is a seldom, if ever, peripheralization of the symptoms. The symptoms tend to stay centralized in the back If the muscles and ligaments are affected, movement will decrease and pain will increase with repeated movements. If the pain extends to the hip must be cleared, say by the examiner. By it must be cleared. So with facet joint problems, the range of motion remains the same. It may be restricted from the beginning as the dose of the pain with repeated movements, and this depends on this. So further, it is there an also important to know there is there any radiating pain. Is the pain centralized or peripherizing? So centralization implies the pain is moving toward or is centered in the lumbar spine, and peripherization implies to the pain is being referred or is moving into the limb. If so, it is helpful to examiner to examine the correct and correlate this information with the dermatome findings with evaluation sensation. So that is also very important, that whether the nerve is being compressed or any there is another problem. You should know whether is the pain is deep, superficial, shooting or burning or aching. Is the pain improving or worsening? Is there any kind of increase in pain with coughing or sneezing? So these are another forms of things which is important to understand. Are there any posture, specific posture or actions that specifically increase or decrease the pain or cause difficulty at times? So, and also which movements are hurtful, which movements induces the particular form of pain. Is there any paresthesia, pins and needles feelings? Has the patient noticed any weakness or decrease in strength? What is the patient's usual activity or pastime? Which activities aggravate the pain? So this as I'm asking the questions, these are very much important things to understand. What is the sleeping position? What activities ease the pain? Does the patient have any difficulty with micturition? Is the patient receiving any medications? Is the patient able to cope during the daily activities? And finally, this is how the examiner is aware. By although in most cases, and people who have low back pain have simple mechanical back problems or have a nerve root problems involving the disc, there is always the possibility of serious spinal pathology. So during this kind of evaluation outlines for the gives an outline to the examiner and about the patient's condition in regard to the further, there are certain surgical methods also. They use epidural steroids before doing the surgical methods to avoid the surgical issues. So the epidural steroid injection is again in 1950s. It was given to the 50% patient with low back pain, and that's how it helps. And also the certain exercises were given. Maximum of 3 injections in a year with 2 week gap is given. Adverse features include infection, dural puncture, and arachnoiditis. It is primarily decreased leg pain. After the injection, the patient is advised 1 day rest. So that's how the injections were given. But in surgery, if you see, there are absolute indications and relative indications for the surgery. So absolute is failed conservative management, marked progressive weakness of the muscles, progressive neurological deficit, cauda equina paralysis. Also, relative indications can be recurrent episodes of uh, incapacitating sciatica, pain unrelieved by complete rest from activity. So there are certain principles of surgery, that is to see that the pressure on the nerve is relieved by removing the Roller's disc, called uh, dissection of the muscle, and bone removal should be kept at a minimum to prevent weakening of the spine. So in surgical methods, you have laminectomy and disc excision earlier. So this was the surgery of choice, but now it is no longer restored to make spine unstable. So for the hemilaminectomy, so here the part of the lamina is removed. It is considered by many as the extended fenestration approach. So if the fenestration technique is properly done, hemilaminectomy is not necessary. Fenestration surgery, here the spine is approached unilaterally and the spine on the opposite side is not exposed. So only the contiguous margin of the upper and lower lamina is removed, and the marginal and the medial uh, facet, uh, facetectomy is done. So the disc is now in excised. So this procedure requires the MRI and radiographic studies correctly locate the affected disc. Microscopic and endoscopic lumbar dissectomy is also performed using an operation microscope or an endoscope. The disc can be excised through a very small incision, maybe less than 3.5 centimeter, with minimal damage to the structures and minimal blood loss. So it is a technically demanding procedure and gives excellent results if done in properly indicated cases like single level uh, posterolateral disc prolapse, or the patient can be discharged home within 2 days and he or she can return to his normal work faster. So that's why it helps to the individual in particular form. Also, so the new treatment of low back pain is kind of a used laser discectomy or percutaneous discectomy, total disc replacement (TDR) are generally used. Also, this is a kind of thing, chemonucleolysis. This is about indications are the same as of for the surgery, but it is limited to the lumbar spine. Drug use is uh, chymopepine. So ways to prevent recurrence, that is, it is the most important aspects of the management of the back. Like in all other diseases, so in the back, prevention is better than the cure, and the back pain is then can be prevented largely by observing the adapting proper uh, posture, the postural thing, the education, the back exercises, and certain things to avoid. So here chemonucleolysis is some limited only to lumbar spine. Drug use is this one. Also therapy exercises are required, and for the recurrence prevention, back education, proper postural habits, back exercises, avoided all sports are very much important. So adopting proper posture and creating awareness that it is the erect posture that the back can withstand the strain at the best. Then back education is to stress on the back is less when it is properly used during sitting, walking. These proper habits have to be cultivated with practice. Then back exercises. This aims to strengthen the abdominal, pelvic, back, and thigh muscles. Strong, healthy muscles reduce load on the disc and other structures. Then to avoid is to all sports including the aerobic ones, and swimming, walking are encouraged. So swimming and walking exercises are only encouraged during the back exercises. And there are certain things to remember, that to consider certain serious causes of the back pain if any one of the things which can be encountered, that the patient in pain in the patient's leg for more than 10 years, greater than 60 years of age, unexplained weight loss, chronic cough, night pains, then altered bowel bladder. So these are certain things which are things to remember when we see for the back. Things to remember for the back is bed posture, bed rest, belts, back education, back exercises, and bed choice are the things which are very much problematic to the. So now here, when you are approaching to a patient with the low back pain, so low back pain is extremely common and uh, afflicting the human race across the global, cutting the geographic boundaries, race, culture, and many things. So 80 to 90% of the human population will suffer from some form of the back, mild or severe, or there can be lifetime. So it is of the interest to know the historical area of the back pain. So even the causes, if you see, there is important to consider certain causes. That here I have mentioned the causes over here: improper posture, sudden twist, faulty weightlifting, bending, sudden weightlifting, or faulty sitting. See, initially the back pain was are known since the beginning of the history. Primitive culture called it as a demon. The Greeks recognized the symptoms as disease, and in 18th century, Cotumus attributed pain to the sciatic nerve. In 1981, the Laswig test described a test to distinguish the hip disease from sciatica, first described by Frost. So that's how it got increased, and now it is being formed in this manner. So, further, the common causes of the back pain as is unaccustomed activities, that is a sedentary person, suddenly adapting to an active form of life, so that is chance of back pain. Poor posture, improper posture during sitting, walking, standing, working places, enormous load on the back can result in a back pain. Also, occupational back pain, that is certain occupation places enormous stress on the back, garbage collectors, porters. Obesity, again, protruding abdominal places enormous strain on the back, muscle strain. In 80% of the cases, back pain is due to strain of the back muscles during activity, sports, trauma, in many other. Prolapse lumbar intervertebral disc. So, this is the second most common cause of the low back pain after muscle strain and ligament sprain. Well, is great length to be is the problem here. The facet joint osteoarthritis due to old age, repeated bending, twisting activities lead to arthritis of the facet joints. So if we see that the spinal stenosis is also the other thing that is due to degenerative process is another common cause of the back pain. The uncommon causes, if you see, of the back pain are disease of the spine, fractures, tumors, inflammatory conditions. So the common causes can be back muscle sprain, prolapse lumbar disc or obesity, poor posture, facet joint arthritis, unaccustomed activities, occupation activities. These are the common causes. Now the uncommon causes are scoliosis, that is some is congenital scoliosis, spondylolisthesis, spina bifida, and spondylolysis. Infective conditions can be osteomyelitis, tuberculosis, brucellosis. Then traumatic conditions can be multiple injuries, muscle sprain, strain, and prolapse disc. Inflammatory conditions can be rheumatoid arthritis, ankylosis spondylosis, and other SSAs. So this is how the problems can be more formed. Then the presenting complaint, that is about the age, as I mentioned. So if you see the predilection and the age predilection and the low back ache. So here less than 20 years will be the common chances of the spondylolisthesis. 20 to 40 years disc herniation, more than 40 years spondylolysis, lumbar canal stenosis. Common to age all groups, that is ligament sprain and strain. So that can be occurred in any age group. So here back is more common in middle age and elderly individual, usually degenerative. In younger adults it is due to trauma. In children it is generally usually due to organic lesions. Occupation is again very important. In this case of a sedentary lifestyle or a heavy manual labor, workers can have are more prone to back pain. Pain, which is very important to know, that is over 90% of the patients complain of pain in lower back. Maybe because of nature of pain to be understood, it is maybe sudden because of trauma, or gradual, that can be because of sorry spondylolysis. Did weight lifting, sudden bending preceded, or is there any remission or exacerbation because of this disease? Is it continuous because of tumors? Is there any history of night cries, maybe TB spine? Does a race relieve it? Does it radiate to the lower limbs? Site of the pain is important, as I mentioned. Is the pain in the middle of the spine or paravertebral area? Sciatic pain. So like that, there are certain biomechanical causes, neurogenic claudication, about neurological symptoms, facet syndrome, and physical signs like stands and gaits, spasm, movement. So these are all things which are important to consider when we are dealing with this kind of issues of the lower pain. For the investigation, you can also have certain blood tests that are useful to detecting metabolic, hormonal, or infective or malignant conditions. Radiological investigation, myelography, CT scans, MRI scans, and that's how you go for this in the causes of the back pain, and this how you approach to the individuals with the back pain. And this is the final slide in which we'll be talking about backache in special situation, backache in children, school back syndrome. So it is indeed very pathetic that the back pain is no longer an unknown entity in children, and because of the heavy back, schools and the tender backs of the children are subjected to the untold misery. So this is how the things happens. And the vital fact is that ideally a children should not carry a bag more than 10% of his weight or her body weight. Nevertheless, the scenario in present day, the children's life is very different because they lift like the bag very heavy compared to their weight. So there are certain features where that we can call the school bag related problems in the children called school bag stress syndrome. So it can be pain in the shoulders, neck, back, tingling sensation in the arms, wrist, and hands, especially at night. Then head and neck are tilted on one side, postural imbalance, frequent headaches, and uncommon gait. So there are certain ways toward the prevention of this. That is the policy matters that the school administration, the government should devise strategies to lessen the burden of the books on the children. So there is different kind of things. Vital facts that using the ergonomical design school bag, use both straps to carry the bag. The knapsack should have several compartments for equal weight distribution. Then heavy items are packed at the top so that the weight is borne on the legs instead of on the spine. Then both the straps should be worn across the shoulder and upper back to equalize the weight distribution. So again, this is how it is being formed, and you can go for it. As you can see here, this is an example over here that school bag syndrome can be prevented by using ergonomic bag design, because there should be one strap at the waist also, which helps to reduce the weight on the help to distribute the weight all across the back, not only on the lower back, but this allow to distribute the weight across all over the back. Today just I'll be talking a little about the repetitive stress injury, that is RSI. So here, the as per the definition here, that it is overuse injury affecting the soft tissue, the muscles, the tendons, and also the nerves of the neck, shoulder, upper and lower back, and arms and hands. So if you see in India, it is also called a CRI, that is computer related injury, and it is due to improper computer use and improper postures. So the incidence over here is 15 to 25% of all the of all the computers users across the global are affected by RSI. About 75% of the IT professionals often are affected by RSI at some stage of career. So it is important that RSI is not a new entity. It is present day centuries and was widely prevalent in musicians, butchers, assembly line centers, barbers, clerks, typists. However, it has seen a sudden boom thanks to the computer and all the call centers, because there is certain uh, increase in the thing. See, the presentation is it is infamous is a varied presentation, stumping even the most experienced orthopedicians. Here, that can be neck, eyes, elbows, forearms can be involved in this. The neck, it is caused by the acute and chronic neck pain. In eyes, there can be affect the vision and causes irritation or blurring. Shoulder pain, very common complaint. Tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, and the forearm cramps or fatigue can be seen. Further, if you see the wrist in the carpal tunnel syndrome, fingers because of the finger pain, backache, again upper, lower, and middle. So this stages here are very seen, that is while at work, and maybe persists, disappears with rest, and symptoms are permanent. So that's how there are certain cure means health education and certain forms are very much important if we are conducted in this kind of a treatment. So because of repetitive stress injury also can provide a lots of force on the back, and as I mentioned before, that how much ever the weight you are lifting, 10 times of it the force is executed in the intervertebral disc of your back, and that causes kind of certain issues. So that's why it is important to understand when you are dealing with children as well as with yourself, with the adults, with the job tasks, with the particular thing. Today's day mobile use is much more, so there is a kind of a abnormal posture, the upper cross syndrome in the upper back. So lower back also is very common thing from centuries. So that's why it is to be considered and to be conducted in particular fashion. So that was for the today's lecture about the low back pain, and in the third lecture I'll be talking more about the treatment protocols and rehabilitations way of dealing with it in back. Thank you. This is the bibliography and references. You can go through this for the better understanding of the topic. Thank you.